Hello. It is now, what time is it? 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. And I don't know who Asmongold is, and I don't know who this guy is. But today or tonight we are going to be watching the Trent Report, as he has made a video about Asmongold, who has made a video about, I'm guessing, not guessing, but I know, trans people and the T and LGBT. And as someone who is a member of the LGBT, I figured I would take a gander to see what all this is about. I caught the tail end of this video on Papa Gut's stream, and so all I can really tell is that this guy seemingly is a religious fuckhead who apparently has a problem with Asmongold accepting some parts of the LGBT and not the other parts. So let's take a look at his channel. So here's the guy. I don't know if I can zoom in here on this guy's face, but his name is The Trent Report. He has a decent number of subscribers and a lot of videos, and he looks like he has psoriasis on his nose, but I can't really tell. Also a neck beard, but I can't also critique him on that because I currently have a neck beard. But as you can tell via his content, let's see, it's the devil sending 2 out of 2 errors. Neil McDowell shares simple but profound advice. Something about Christ. George Takei pushes more degeneracy, aims to make more disordered part of the American dream, blah, blah, blah. So basically, this guy's a religious nutbag. So, but the video that we're going to be watching today is this one right here of Asmongold pushing woke ideology. So let's dive into this.
Woke is dead. That is the mantra that we've heard on a repeat since President Donald Trump was elected to his second term as president. However, as we see nearly every single day, that is just not true whatsoever. The latest example of this is popular streamer Asmongold coming out defending gay marriage and saying there's nothing wrong with transgenderism. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. First off, let's get into his defense of gay marriage, which he made in a recent stream.
Hey, gay marriage. I'm gay married. What's it gonna say?
Earlier this week. This is what he said. He says, I think that gay people should be able to get married. I don't think that churches should have to officiate gay marriages. So like basically, if you're a mosque, a synagogue, a church, a monastery or anything like that, churches should in no way, shape, or form be given any sort of obligation to officiate or recognize gay marriage.
Fair point. I don't want someone who doesn't want to marry me, but I do think it should be an acceptable avenue to be married, obviously, because married. And we didn't even go to a church to get married. We just went to the courthouse, signed some papers, and ta-da, we're married.
But what does need to be acknowledged is the state, because marriage is a legal concept between two people. And fundamentally, I don't really see there being a problem. It's for tax reasons, right? Now, if you wanted to do something where, because civil unions, you could say civil unions do not have the same rules as a marriage. If you wanted to make civil unions for all intents and purposes, and in every single circumstance with literally zero exceptions, they are just simply the gay version of marriage, I would be fine with that.
So here comes the argument that gay people should just have civil unions and not marriages, because marriage is a pact between a man and a woman. One man and one woman, as defined by God. When marriage in itself predates religion, it predates the Christian religion, it predates all of that bullshit. And it didn't even start out as this it was formed so that people could survive. Basically, it was like the legal union of two families, so that way that they could, sort of both benefit and use each other's for resources, so that way they could survive. That's what marriage was. It didn't really have anything to do with religion. It was all about being able to, make it to the next day, essentially. That's a simple breakdown, but yeah.
But right now, as it stands, they're not the same, especially with certain types of end of rights, end of life rights, and end of life privileges. Civil unions do not fully cover that in a way that marriage does, and it's also true in certain types of inheritances, etc. It should just be recognized by the government. So he's clearly advocating for gay marriage. Like, he is literally saying, I think that gay people should be able to get married. First off, marriage.
Yeah, we should. And we should also be able to get divorced. Sorry if I'm slurring. I cannot tell you what's in this cup.
It's not a legal concept between two people, so he doesn't even know what marriage is, and he's clearly trying to redefine something that has existed for time immemorial.
Yeah, it has existed in time immemorial before Christ, before your religion. And it is at this time, as it has developed through culture, through time, in this day and age in 2025, it is a legal concept between two people. That is exactly what it is now, what it has become, and that's fine. It was something else when in the beginning, then it became a sort of religious thing, and now it is what it is. Things are allowed to grow and adapt and evolve. We as a society know that, right? Right?
Rather, marriage is a covenant by which a man and a woman establish between themselves a partnership of the whole of life, is by its nature ordered toward the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of offspring. This covenant between baptized persons has been raised by Christ the Lord to the dignity of a sacrament.
So what you're saying is that atheists shouldn't be allowed to get married. People who are infertile should not be allowed to get married. It's only for people who have correct biology and with the appropriate religion. It's only for those people, is what I'm hearing.
Really, there is no such thing as the so-called gay marriage, because...
Then what do you call this? What am I in? He would say a civil union. I don't know. Some of the stuff we do is not so civil. That's gay sex, by the way.
Marriage requires a man and a woman. It also obviously requires the procreation and education of offspring. As Catholic apologist Jimmy Akin noted back in 2013, to claim that a man can marry another man or a woman another woman is just playing games with words, as would be claiming that a man can marry an animal or a vegetable or an inanimate object. And that...
What? To claim that a man can marry another man or a woman can marry another one is just playing games with words. How is that playing games with words? A consenting adult and a consenting adult and another consenting adult getting married in a sentence, point blank. Where are you getting this? Marry an animal, marry a vegetable, marry an inanimate object. Look, what the fuck is that? That doesn't make any sense. You're just pulling that out of your ass.
That is the lie that Asmongold has clearly bought into and is now peddling. Furthermore, in 2004, Jimmy Akin pointed out that given the fact that marriage is a reality of...
Jimmy Akin. Who the fuck is this, and why do we care about this person's opinion?
Human nature, we cannot change it. We don't have the ability to alter human nature. Nevertheless, that appears to be what Asmongold is attempting to do. He's attempting to alter human nature by...
What? Given the fact that marriage is a reality of human nature, we cannot change it. How is it a factor of human nature when human nature has... You could say that religion in itself is not a natural thing. Marriage is in no way natural. To be fair, we are just monkeys on this earth trying to figure this shit out, and we're coming here pretending that these systems that we created are natural. It might be a natural byproduct of our intelligence, or like of our culture and our social whatever, but it's not natural per se. Why is it? Why would we be the only species in the history of the earth to get married? Granted, in the animal kingdom, there are so many examples of coupling between two animals, and sometimes that's between two animals of the same sex. Marriage is literally nothing to do with nature. Like, they're now just making shit up at this point.
Advocating for gay marriage. He is literally advocating for wokeness. And for anyone who doesn't know what wokeness is, I think Dr. Edward Fieser.
Hold on. Wokeness is a paranoid, delusional, egalitarian mindset that tends to see oppression and injustice where they do not exist, or greatly to exaggerate them where they do exist. That's what wokeness is? That's what wokeness is? Wait. Okay, I'm sure he's going to explain it, but how does it apply to this, to be fair? How does this definition of wokeness that tends to see oppression and injustice? Because if this is the definition of wokeness, then Republicans and conservatives are using this completely wrong. It's like anything to do with anything that's not to do with Jesus, that's not to do with conservative values is considered woke. Like, it is the laziest argument out there in the books. I'm so tired of hearing about it, to be honest with you.
Or people who are going to say, define wokeness in the comments. I'm sure Dr.
Define it.
Edward Fieser has a really good definition of it. He says,
oh, this one person who has an opinion or a bias towards one side defined it for everyone else who doesn't align with him. So essentially, he made up a definition. And this person who made this video is choosing to follow that definition. But there are apparently other people who have differing definitions. So if there are differing definitions, whose definition do you follow? Is it the person with whom whose ideology fits closer to yours? Because it seems like there is no actual definition and that we're just making shit up, which sounds about right.
Wokeness is a paranoid, delusional, hyper-egalitarian mindset that tends to see oppression and injustice where they do not exist, or greatly to exaggerate them where they do exist. And he actually kind of goes on and says here, by characterizing wokeness as paranoid and delusional, I'm not fleeing in terms of abuse, but describing the real psychological features of the woke attitude. In their book, The Coddling of the American Mind, which I say a bit about in my own book, Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt note that the frame of mind encouraged by woke ideas, critical race theory, gender theory, social justice warrior rhetoric, and the like is very similar to a mindset that cognitive behavioral therapy identifies as a major cause of psychological disorders. And if you're literally trying to change something that is part of nature, you are clearly being delusional.
Again, marriage is not natural, and changing things is a huge part of the human experience in our cultural or societal, the culture of our society. Things have always adapted and evolved. There is nothing natural about the specifics of our culture. Nothing at all. We are making this shit up as we go. We always have, and we always will.
And that is exactly what Asmongold is buying into right now. He is living in a delusion, thinking that he can redefine what marriage is. Given Asmongold's comments, he's bought into the lie that marriage can be changed when it cannot.
What's the lie? If we're just picking and choosing what things mean, then how can you define the truth and or define the lie? Please tell me.
And predicted this in 2004, describing what Asmongold is now advocating for as a legal fiction. Aiken said this: that is to say, we could create laws requiring those in society to treat those in homosexual unions as if they were married. People could be required to refer to homosexual unions as marriages, to refer to people in such unions as spouses, to alter forms so that people in such unions can present themselves as such, and to give them the status of married people regarding adoption, housing, taxes, insurance, divorce, and inheritance. But while the law could be rewritten to coerce society into treating people in homosexual unions as if they were married, this would not give them the reality of marriage. It would not change the nature of their union to correspond to what marriage actually is.
So it sounds like we're just arguing over semantics at this point. You think that marriage is specifically a Christian modality of union, like religious union. What about Hindu? What about the Hindi people? What about Buddhist? What about, again, atheists? What about all these other religions? What about everyone else? Are they not allowed to get married? Because your argument really makes no sense. You are seeing it in such a narrow scope.
Second, providing a state endorsement as well as benefits and subsidies, to these disordered and sinful relationships would encourage more of such activity and lead others down the path of destruction.
Destruction? Let me tell you, there's only a few things that are destructive about our relationship, and those things happen in the bedroom.
It also brings about other forms of destruction, such as depriving children of their right to both a mother and a father. And
do children have a right to a mother and a father? I know that they have that's usually what it takes to create a child, is a mother or a male and a female, and they come together. But then again, there are so many single parents out there who raise children, and those children end up being completely fine. And those people are also, I guess, depriving their child of a mother and a father if that child's other parent isn't in the picture. So should we also go after them? Like, is that also a correct thing to say?
A proliferation of purchasing your fellow man through surrogacy. We have seen all of these things kind of play out since the Supreme Court had their Obergefell ruling back in 2015. And there's obviously been
Wait, hold on. Depriving children the right of both a mother and a father, and the proliferation of purchasing your fellow man through surrogacy. Which, yes, that does. Which, purchasing your fellow man or using surrogacy to create a family, create offspring in a same-sex relationship. It's saying that you're just purchasing another human being. That's such a shallow, vapid way to look at that. What about people who need surrogacy for their actual, with heterosexual couples? Are they just purchasing kids? Are they just being selfish because they just want to purchase a baby? What, can you not draw the comparison there? Like, what are you saying, dude?
Profile abuse cases where these individuals are literally purchasing other people and then abusing them. It's just sick. It's just absolutely sick.
That also happens in heterosexual couples. It's not like a gay thing. It's not a straight thing. It's just a sick people thing. And sick people who have kids, that has happened throughout history. And just because it has happened in same-sex relationships does not mean that is the majority. It does not mean that is the reason that we go out and try to have kids. It is just a step that we have to take when we are wanting to, add to our family. This feeds into that shitty rhetoric that homosexuals are also pedophiles. And it's sickening to me that this guy just... I don't know if he actually leaves his house or if he actually has known in his real life a gay couple. Maybe he's known a gay person, but a gay couple? I don't think he's ever actually met someone real outside of his church, honestly.
Additionally, there are a plethora of examples of the state persecuting those who are opposed to this degeneracy, including florists, bakers, photographers, and even town clerks. There are obviously a number of examples of those.
Okay. With the bakers, I know he's talking about the lady who I think refused to bake a cake for the lesbian couple or something like that. And listen, that's fine. A private business who doesn't want to serve a gay couple, that if you don't want if you don't want to provide me a service and whatever, that's fine with me. You don't have to. I'm gonna go somewhere else. If you don't want my money, then I won't force you to take my money. The problem with all this, and that goes for, the florists, the photographers, but the town clerk, that is a state position. He's talking about that, what's her name? Kim Davis? That's a government state position. That lady's religion has nothing to do with that job, and she abused her position, or she neglected her position on basis of her religious status, and that's on her. She deserves everything that comes to her. The lawsuits, everything, because you cannot run a state position through the filter of your religion. That's fucking lunacy. Because what if she was Muslim? No one, or first off, no one would fucking care. They would laugh at her that her religious beliefs were stopping her from doing something. What if her religious beliefs prevented her from also giving a driver's license to like a woman with the tattoos or something? Like, from the looks of it, she seems to either be like holiness or Pentecostal, and I think in her view, like, you're supposed to like grow your hair out, you can't wear pants, all this other bullshit. And what if she like, if we let this slide, she could prevent other people. She could prevent atheists. She could prevent single mothers. She could prevent unmarried women. She could prevent all sorts of like divorced people. She could cause all these calamities to these people who aren't of her kind, essentially. Like, we cannot let this stand. Kim Davis, go fuck yourself.
Not to mention the resurgence in diseases such as syphilis and increases in suicide and mental health.
Wait, what is he saying? There's even not to mention the resurgence in diseases such as syphilis and increases in suicide and mental health problems. Wait. Is he saying that gay people are the resurgence, cause the resurgence of syphilis and suicide? Or self-harm? Sorry. I don't know if I can actually say that on YouTube. But is that what he's saying? Honey, syphilis has been around. Syphilis, now granted, there are a lot of STDs in the LGBT community, but syphilis is, I don't think you know anything about STDs and STIs. And mental health problems? This is going to give me a mental health problem. Your stupid, dumb ass video is going to give me mental health issues.
Problems with the people that engage in these disordered lifestyles. And so not only did he defend gay marriage, but then he also said that trans is not a big problem. He said it's not a big problem. Let's listen to what he had to say right here.
And arguably, it's not a big problem. It's not really a problem.
The LGBT is mostly fine. You're right. Trans is the main issue that people have a problem with. That is the main issue. It's not gay, it's certainly not bi, and it's absolutely not lesbians.
Which is a fair point, I guess. Most complaints that you hear about in today's age, in 2025, about LGBT people do revolve around the T and the non-binary people. It's just the current it's the current socio-political talking point is to blame everything on the trans community. And it's not the community that's the problem, it's just a couple of fucking idiots within that community who are making big waves and doing things in the most idiotic and most abhorrent way. And it's causing this wild ripple effect that is honestly starting to affect the rest of the alphabet soup.
It's trans. That's where all of the hostility, all of the negativity comes from. Yes.
And again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with trans people. There's something wrong with some of the trans people. Some of the most wild, weird, loudest dumbasses on TikTok. Those are some of the most vile pieces of crap that I've ever seen. But again, it's not the community. It's just these handful of idiots who are unfortunately representing the wider scope of trans people. And it's sad. And I kind of wish that there were more normal people to represent the community, but I think that'll come in time.
And trans should not.
I mean, that used to be how it was with gay people as well. In the beginning, all you saw were like these wild stereotypes and the wild activists. And then eventually, through media and television, it became more normalized to just be normal.
Not be involved with LGBT. There should not be an LGBT. LGBT. It should just be LGB. Trans is how you see yourself. Bisexual Being gay, being a lesbian is how you see other people. Being trans is not a sexuality. All three of the other ones are sexualities.
I guess fair. And there already is a movement called LGB without the T, and I dabbled with that for a second. Not like seriously, but I like, I went into the spaces online and I just absorbed. I don't know if I fully agree with it at this point, because there's not really enough of the trans people to really cause neither both a positive or a negative effect in actual society. I just think they're fine for the most part. Again, just most of the people that you see online who claim to be trans are the most annoying fucking idiots online I've ever seen, including the conservative ones. Sorry, again, slurring my words.
It's that simple. Yeah, trans is a big problem. Well, I don't know about being a big problem. I don't think it's a big problem. What I'm saying is, like, the trans issues they're much more divisive, and they're much more, like, people have, like, much stronger feelings on the trans issues than they do about gay issues or something like that. Obviously, there's some people that don't like any of it, but in a general sense, I think that's what's going on. Are we really backtracking in history? Yeah, clearly that's what's happening.
So there you go. You can hear him say he's reading a comment where someone says trans is a big problem, and he rejects that, saying, I don't know about it being a big problem. I don't think it's a big problem. I mean, this guy thinks that people thinking that they can change their sex is not a big problem. I
don't think anyone has claimed to change their sex exactly. I think all the talking points nowadays are they can change their gender. Like, most of the time when people are referring to anything trans-related, it's referring to their gender, which is like a term in sociology that just refers to how people will express themselves in society, I guess. But go off, Queen.
He's clearly living in a delusion. He is advocating for woke ideology at this point. I think it's safe to say that we can now describe Asmongold as woke because he's literally advocating wokeness. As far as this idea that he posits at the beginning of that video, where he claims that the T needs to be separated from LGB, this is literally a narrative that Dr. Edward Fieser predicted back in January. He said this: the LGB without the T shtick is going to become standard in the new conservatism evolving before our eyes. It's a delusion. The T is a consequence of the same premises that led to the LGB.
Premises? Is the LGB a premise? Are we premises? Like, what is the definition? What I want to know is, what is the definition of a premise? I'm getting a little bit in the sauce now, but define premise. Is most commonly used. A premise is a statement or idea that is assumed to be true and used as the basis of an argument or conclusion. A statement or idea. Huh. I don't know if... Hold on. What else? As a basis for an argument. In creative writing. As premises. Blah, 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 blah. So, are we just an idea to you? Is that what this is?
Stand or fall together. And then he has an extraordinarily lengthy essay where he goes over all of this and actually addresses a number of LGBT people who are trying to separate the...
Hold on. What is this guy? Edward Fesser. I'm a writer and philosopher living in Los Angeles. I teach philosophy at Pasadena City College. My primary academic research and interests are in the philosophy of moral mind and political philosophy and philosophy of religion. I also write on politics from a conservative point of view and on religion from a traditional Roman Catholic perspective. Loser.
T from them and shows how they can't do it and how they are indeed connected because they all kind of stem from the same root. I'm not going to get into all of this right now, but if you want to, I will include the link to this in the description below. And I've obviously cited this essay a number of times.
So I don't know if my opinion is going to be very popular when it comes to philosophy, but it sounds like a complicated, like from the philosophy that I've read and just seen, it just sounds like it's a bunch of people with high anxiety who overthink things and try to make very simple things more complicated than they really need to be. Like my brother is currently, I think he's either getting his master's or something in philosophy. And we've talked a little bit about it, and every time he tells me about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's just every time. It's just like, what you're telling me seems like a very basic concept, but just said in just large words. Or words that are more complicated than they really need to be. It's the whole Jordan Peterson, like, paradox. It's like, he says big words, and he says really basic things while using big words to make himself sound more succinct and smart than he really is. And I get that same vibe from philosophy, to be honest, because I don't think we're just monkeys, and I think we're just overcomplicating things.
In my articles over on Fandom Pulse, but this is just the world we live in now. People that claim to be opposed to wokeness in video games are literally advocating for it in public policy.
Did we just hear what he just said? Someone who is against wokeness in video games, but they're for it in public policy. Like, oh my god. Do you hear yourself, dude? Like, first off, who really freaking cares about wokeness in video games? It's not a thing. There's, like, literally no such thing as wokeness in video games. It's just a video game with a variety of characters who don't look like you. That's all that's happening. All that's happening.
So I think it's safe to say that it was all a ruse. It was all fake. These people have no principles, and unclear as to why they decided to try to be anti-woke. Maybe they wanted to ride some kind of wave, but now that everyone has declared that woke is dead, we're seeing numerous people come out and indicate that they are totally fine with woke ideology. And I would not be surprised if we start seeing Asmongold advocating for this stuff in video games, which he has clearly said in the past that he hasn't been. So it's just really sad that this is the world that we live in, that these people claim something for, 6 months, a year or so, get really big and popular for opposing it, and then immediately try to shift the narrative to get people to buy into this stuff. And that's why we have to be extraordinary.
Is that what Asmongold's doing? Like, again, I don't know much about Asmongold. All I know is that he's a gamer, and he also, I think he's a big Trump guy, and he is a political commentator online and stuff, but you can be conservative but also be cool with gay people. Like, not everyone's in this weird, like, mind cult where you have to follow every single thing that the ridiculous far right believes in. Like, it's a politics aren't black and white, and your political beliefs are not black and white. People like this person essentially sees MAGA or their politics like a sexuality where they have to have a label, and then you have to follow all these, like, different rules. You're your own LGBT in a way. You're your own version of woke. If you feel like you have to follow every single thing that the Orange Man says.
Vigilant. So we have to keep fighting this stuff, and we have to be really careful about who we listen to, who we trust, and we really have to ground ourselves in Jesus Christ, and he shows us what is the truth, rather than putting kind of faith and trust in.
Again, okay, I'm not religious, but I consider myself a very blessed person, and I have taken action in my life to succeed in spite of the pressure to be religious to be successful. And in my life, in my 34 years of living, I have been fairly successful in most of the things that I have taken part in. And I see that as myself existing in spite of religious pressure, not persecution. That doesn't make any sense. But people like this really get on my nerves, to be honest.
In individuals like Asmongold, in these influencers. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Okay, speaking the truth, you're a fucking idiot. Wait, you can see a little bit better of him now. Okay, so he doesn't have, like, no psoriasis like a fucking loser. But he does have a neck beard. It looks like he's wearing a shirt with, like, a Viking ship sailing off into the sunset like a homosexual. And oh god, is he one of those like white supremacist pagans? It looks like he's a white supremacist pagan, but that was a lot. Well, let's check out these comments and see what they say. Let's see. Asmongold has always been center left. Shouldn't really surprise anyone. Asmon is a classical liberal and so-called Democrats 20 years ago. No surprise here, to be honest. Blah, blah, blah. Making video must only be one surprise. Blah, blah. John, he has always felt that way about rainbow stuff and is an open atheist. Are you regarded? Why is this a surprise? I think this man is very regarded. It's a well put together video as far as editing, but it kind of makes a pointless video. Keep up work, but do a little more research. It is a pointless video. Should we name this channel to the Downey Report? So basically everyone's just like, yeah, you're sort of dumb, dude. Oh my god. These comments are... Wait, hold on, wait. Someone said something about gay marriage. Okay. Gay marriage is woke ideology. What are you talking about? Yes, why do you think people have been tearing apart corpos from Pride celebrations? Did you suffer amnesia from the last decade? As far as myself, I would say to go back to the 60s, my friend. You live in the wrong decade. You're not far right, you're far left, just not far left enough for them, though. Blah, blah. If you reject that somebody usually can become all about marriage because it's not a fruitful relationship, apparently then there's probably no discussion to be had because we won't agree on the terminology. The institution of marriage service provided means that the state inherits in secular and secular realm, hence why a marriage couple could choose not to have children but still married on the in the gay marriage a gay couple could and sometimes when choose to adopt children. By the adoption and creation of family, they are creating the same means of securing channels of inheritance and lands and elevate. Okay, cool. You give myself and dealing with the heartbreak and learning that half of them are just digits and looking for handouts to take care of them. It might become against it too. There is merit in love too. So that guy's a fucking loser. Let's see. Okay, marriage is the concept adopted by various religions way before Christianity was a thing. Marriage was not adopted from various religions at all. It was originally created to establish family ties and property inheritance. So you have it backwards. Various religions adopted the concept of marriage that existed way before formal religion was a thing. Wait, what? Okay. I don't think this guy read what this guy said. Okay, so basically the guy's an idiot. He's not going to change the fact that me and my husband are gay married, and one day that we look to have kids, we are looking to have kids one day, and this guy can go get fucked. But so what y'all think? Leave a comment down below. I'm a little tired. I'm also a little bit crunk, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good night. Feel free to follow me, Instagram at BlakeJustBlake.